Hi, good morning. 6 o'clock, 6 a.m. I already went to the gas station to pick up the chalane, the cooking gas that we use. I never really talk about logistics here or, the operation that we have going here, but in the Philippines, look at that sun, it's so bright. So in the Philippines, you can cook your food one of a couple of ways. One is with the cooking gas, the LNG, or with coal, charcoals, or with wood. We cook with the cooking gas. The brand that we use is called Shalane, Solane. There's other brands, and the weird thing is that with each brand you need a different regulator. I don't understand that. You would think they'd all be on the same regulator, but they're not. And the regulators here are junk. They don't last that long. We got to buy a new one like all the time, otherwise they leak. But this morning I got up. Last night I was cooking, and I was almost done. It always happens. I mean, I only needed about 10 more minutes of cooking, and I was done. Just had to boil the spaghetti. And the gas ran out. But thank God we have a stove outside, so we finished the cooking outside. But this Chilean gas, I think I paid. Oh, before I left, the gas was about 950 pesos. And today, when I went to go buy the gas, you buy it at the gas station or other hardware stores or whatever, and I paid 1,180 pesos. I gave the guy 20 peso tip, so it's 1,200 pesos. I paid 1,200 pesos for the cooking gas. So roughly about 25 bucks. I forget what it costs to fill up a tank of gas. They're about the same size. This might be a little bit bigger, but they're about the same size as the tanks at home for your gas grills. I forget what it costs. Maybe around the same. I wanted to talk about this subject because this is one of the expenses that you're going to have here as a foreigner if you're living in the Philippines. If you do any cooking, I mean, you might be the type of guy or woman that eats out all the time or doesn't cook. We also cook on the grill too. But you guys see our kitchen. We cook all the time. I mean that stove is going 3-4 times a day. And I want to talk about the stove today. I want to give you guys kind of an inside look on one of the functions here at the house, which is the stove that gets tons of use. So let's go connect this gas. And it's so heavy when it's full. I don't like gas. I'm not a scientist, but yes, when the tank is full, it's very heavy. So this is the tank, Chilean tank. And here's the fitting. So let's go. Let's pick this bad boy up. And let's carry it over to the back of the kitchen where the gas tank is. A lot of people have these things inside their house under the stove. I didn't want to have that. I put it outside. Connected a little bit of hose to it, and we're good to go. So this is the working area. It's kind of a mess back here. So this is the hose that goes into the house. I probably should seal this, but I didn't. So, and you gotta take this thing off. Okay. And then here's your fitting. It's no big deal. You just turn it in here. Make sure it's nice and tight. Turn it around. And she's on. Okay. That's it. You keep this thing over it. I don't know why, just to protect it from the sun. And then that's it. That's how it's connected to the house. I like to open up the doors in the morning. The only problem is, right now, a lot of flies. Kitchen smells. I don't know. I think maybe the sewer. I think maybe the drain, something like that. I don't know. Something's not right. It smells like something died in here. So I will open up the windows, the doors. We just changed out some of the broken locks. Fucking expensive. So expensive, these locks. I forgot how expensive they were. But they open up nice and easy. So let's talk about the stove today. I don't know, this might be a boring subject, but this is what I want to talk about today. So this is our Bosch stove. I bought this stove in Cebu. Where did we buy it? We bought it at the Cebu Design Center. We bought it at the Cebu Design Center. Sometimes I have to put these things on, right? This is a wok burner. This thing cooks really fast. This is for your wok cooking. This is for your slow simmers. This one takes forever to light up. And then you got your mediums, and then you got your large pot over there. So this is the Bosch stove that we bought in Cebu 3 years ago. We bought it at the Cebu Design Center. I forget the exact name of the store, but it's just a small complex. A small complex that has, you know, Cebu Design Center, Home Design Center, whatever, Design Center. You know, it has all of the high-end stuff, you know, for your home. They have Tempur-Pedic there. They have Wolf stoves. Those are out of my budget. But I paid, I think, around $2,000, something like that, about $2,000 for this stove. Maybe it was a little bit more. It wasn't more than $2,500, and it definitely wasn't less than $1,500. Somewhere about that, and that was 3 years ago. So I want to talk about the stove because, you know, there are a lot of people who are building, and they're always sending me emails and questions about certain things. I've gotten comments about the stove, but I want to talk about it because what you buy here in the Philippines doesn't last. okay? You can go to like Wilcon and buy what you think is a really nice, regular stove, that has the cooking on the top, has the oven, and you put it into the spot and you're done. But no, you're not. Doesn't matter how much you spend on one of those stoves, they will not last. What will end up happening is the clickers will go, and then you'll have to light it by match. That'll be like the first thing that breaks, and then the oven won't work anymore. You'll have to replace all the parts in there. And the stove that you're buying, those kind of stoves, they're not cheap. I mean, they're not $2,000, but you might end up spending like $500, $600, maybe $300 on one of those stoves. They look great, and you think they're great, but they're really not. A lot of people just have the two burners, they're portable burners. They just go on top of your counter. You connect your gas, and those work great. Those are pretty durable, but they're not very good on gas. If you use one of those things, you'll go through a tank of gas. If you cook like us, which is like at least 3 times a day, you'll go through a tank of cooking gas probably once every 3 to 4 weeks. Maybe you might be able to stretch it out to 6 weeks on one of those burner things that you just put on the counter. It's like 2 burners. The stove we have outside, I bought that thing like 5 years ago for the old apartment. That's our outdoor cooking stove. And I forget how much I paid for that. It wasn't cheap. I only used the oven like half a dozen times and it's already broken. The oven don't work anymore. Only one burner works for the clicker, and then you gotta light the other ones with a match. They don't really last, those kind of stoves. But that's what you get here, One of the things I noticed here is that a lot of people look for Japanese-made products. If you look closely and you do the research, it might be a Japanese brand, but they're all built in China. It's all made in China, Thailand, Malaysia, it's all built in Taiwan. Built in those places. It might be a Japanese brand, but very hard to find a true Japanese brand and built model here. Because, and I'll tell you why, because the duty tax is so expensive. If you're shipping a $500 stove, the tax is $500. No one wants to pay $1,000 for a $500 stove. But back to my stove. So I love to cook. Lynn likes cooking, and I built this kitchen to be a really nice place to cook, a nice place to gather with your family and your friends. So what I have here is a kitchen and a living room, a dining living room. That's what this villa is all about. It's all about family, fun, and friends, this particular villa. The stove, when I was looking at stoves, I really wanted to buy the Wolf stove, but I don't want to pay no $6,000. So I came across this place that had a lot of Bosch appliances. As you notice, we have a Bosch dishwasher. I have the Bosch stove. They call it a hob stove, Bosch hobnob, I don't know. Hob stove, Bosch hob stove. I forget the model number because I have to look at the manual, and that's put away with all my other manuals. And Sammy's here. So when we were shopping for stuff for the house, when we were doing the construction, I came across the Cebu Design Center in Cebu. You can look it up, pretty easy to find. And they got all different types of stores there. It's like a little strip mall that has all stuff for your home improvement, home things, like beds, appliances. So I saw this stove, and it was the highest high-end stove that they had in this Bosch store, the high-end one. They had other ones. They had other Bosch stoves in there that weren't as nice as this one. But this was the most expensive one. I don't know if it was the best one, but for me, it was what I was looking for, because if you buy a stove and it's got like 5 burners on it, but they're so tight together, you can only put one thing on the stove. What's the point? That's what I don't get. They build these stoves around here, like 4 burners, 5 burners, and yet they're so close together. How's the pot? How are you supposed to put 4 pots, 5 pots together like that? You can't. It's impossible. So you end up buying these 4 or 5 burner stoves. You can only put 1 pot on at a time. But this is a true stove, a true frigging stove that you can cook. You can put 5 pans on it, all at the same time. They all fit. Beautiful stove. I love it. I love cooking on it. And so the moral of the story here is, and I didn't know this when I bought this stove, but this thing is ultra efficient when it comes to burning the gas, consuming the gas when you're cooking. Unbelievable. So I guess that's what you're paying for. And I have to say that over the past 3 years, I've made my money back on the stove, on the savings on the gas alone. Because I got back March 22, the 22nd. I got back here the 22nd of March. Lynn had bought this thing sometime in February, the tank. And I'm just replacing it now. Today is June 28th. It's the end of June. So we got 4 months of cooking, night and day, 3 times a day, sometimes 4. We got 4 months of cooking on this stove. 4 months. That is insane. 4 months on 1 tank of gas. It's true. I mean, I swear to God, right hand of God. And you guys see all the cooking we do. And if you had one of those other stoves, whether it's those nice ones that you just, that come all together with the oven and the burners, or you just buy the burner cooktop, that just goes on the counter, you're looking at a month. Sometimes, if you don't do a lot of cooking, like if you're this type of person who cooks dinner once a week, a couple of times a week, yeah, you get maybe 2 months, 3 months out of it. Sure, 3 or 4 months, maybe even 4 months, who knows? But if you cook like us 3 times a day, almost 7 days a week, you will not get 4 months out of one of those stoves. Not a chance, no way. So, I made this video, talk about the stove, talk about one of the things here that's a vital part of our operation here is the cooking. And it came to my mind, I said, look, I gotta go buy gas today. Let me make a video about this. Savings is amazing. You paid a lot for the stove. It's not broken. All the burners still working. You saw that low cooking burner. Takes a little time to turn on. I don't know why it was always like that, even out of the box. I don't know if that's just because the gas goes into that thing very, very slowly, because it's a low speed cooking. So maybe that's why. But I have to say I'm 100% happy and satisfied with that stove that I bought. A little expensive, well worth it. And it's a beautiful looking stove. One of the best pieces of equipment I bought here. If you like this video, let me know. I'll make some more videos about some of the other things that we have here on the property, like the generator, the dishwasher, stuff like that, If you want to know more about that stuff, just comment and I'll make more videos about it. Thanks for watching. See you guys.
Dancing? You doing TikTok?